The world assumed it was just another heartbreaking loss. But what unfolded in the hours before Malcolm Jamal Warner took his last breath is something no one expected to hear. A leaked voicemail, a tear-stained letter, and a phone call that shattered a bond forged over decades. Just as fans began to digest the shocking news of Malcolm's sudden passing, an even more painful revelation emerged from the two people closest to him: Tempest Bledsoe, the woman he once loved, and Phylicia Rashad, the maternal figure who nurtured him both on and off screen. In a voice memo retrieved from Malcolm's phone, his fragile, trembling words are clear. "Tell Tempest, I forgive her. Claire, I'm ready." With those few words, he said his final goodbye to both women. Tempest's voice, barely audible through her sobs in a leaked recording, pleads, "If you forgive me, maybe I'll never forgive myself." She knew she understood what her silence had cost him now. After carrying his pain for years, Phylicia Rashad has finally broken her silence. The truth she reveals is darker than anyone could have imagined. Malcolm didn't pass surrounded by love. He died alone, betrayed, abandoned, forgotten by the one who had promised never to leave him. The most tragic part: he was still waiting for someone to stand up and fight for him. This was more than just a death. It was the collapse of everything he believed, in a love story turned desperate cry for help. And now, the whole world is listening. But for Malcolm, it was already too late. Just as the clock struck midnight, the atmosphere shifted heavy, cold, and almost impossible to put into words. Hours before headlines broke the heartbreaking news of Malcolm Jamal Warner's death, something happened no one saw coming. Not his fans, not his friends, not even the woman who claimed to know him better than anyone else. Tempest Bledsoe, the woman the world believed was his anchor, his safe haven in an industry that devours and discards. What lay beneath the red carpet smiles and nostalgic interviews was a painful truth now exposed by a leaked voicemail and a shocking letter, spreading across social media. And it all starts with Phylicia Rashad, the matriarch, his on-screen mother, the only person who truly understood how broken Malcolm had become. For years, she remained silent, protecting his privacy and legacy. But now, that silence has been shattered with the illusion that Malcolm was okay. Because he wasn't. Not for a long time. The unraveling began when a 2-minute audio clip surfaced online. At first, fans doubted its authenticity, but the voice, raw, cracking, unmistakable, proved otherwise. It was Tempest, crying, not acting, not performing, but sobbing, as if her soul had been ripped apart. "If you forgive me, maybe I'll never forgive myself, but I need you to know, I never meant to leave you like that," she whispered, before the line went cold, silent, hollow, devastating. Moments later, Phylicia revealed Malcolm's whispered words that now echo in millions of hearts. "Even the ones who love you like a mother can't tell who's crying for the soul and who's crying for the spotlight." What can you even say to that? Those weren't just words, they were the unraveling of a man who had given everything: his childhood, his identity, his peace, and received only silence in return. Insiders revealed that Malcolm hadn't eaten for 3 days before his death. He stopped answering calls, ignoring texts, and vanished from sight except for one person: Phylicia. Late that night, she visited him. No cameras, no meta, just her, and the man she once called her TV son, now hollow-eyed, trembling, barely recognizable. Witnesses say when Malcolm opened the door, he froze and then collapsed into her arms. He said nothing, shed no tears. He simply clung to her like a lost child weathering a long storm. Phylicia held him like a mother, who sensed this might be their last embrace. "That night, I saw a grief in Malcolm's eyes no script could ever prepare me for," she said, voice trembling. "He wasn't acting, he wasn't holding back, he was just gone." Then he handed her something, a handwritten note with a single line: "Some lights burn so quietly you don't realize they're out until you're left in darkness." Pause on that. It's exactly where we find ourselves now, in darkness, piecing together a puzzle of pain, regret, and unspoken truths. The voicemail, the letter, the last glance in his eyes. Now social media is ablaze with one burning question: what happened between Tempest and Malcolm that broke him? Sources say it began at a private reunion party just 3 nights before his death. The rap event meant to celebrate decades of cast history, but instead marked the end of something sacred. Tempest and Malcolm were seen in a tense, hushed exchange. No audio, but footage captured her gripping his wrist, pleading desperately. He pulled away, expressionless and dead-eyed, and walked off without a goodbye. Unknown to all, that was the last time Malcolm appeared in public. That night, he drove home alone, no driver, no entourage, just city lights and a playlist heavy with memories. 3 hours later, Phylicia got a blocked call. At first she didn't answer, but when she heard the voicemail, her knees gave way. It was Tempest, shaking, sobbing, whispering a confession no one was prepared for. "I told him I was done lying. He asked if I ever loved him, and I didn't answer. I just couldn't carry both of us anymore." That was the moment everything shattered. The betrayal Malcolm feared was confirmed. He wasn't losing his mind, he was losing the one person he thought would never let go. And the grief, it wasn't poetic or cinematic. It was ugly, suffocating, silent. Malcolm shut off his phone, shut out the world, and for the first time, he gave up. What makes it even more haunting is what came next: a voice memo found on his phone after his death, titled "For the Ones I Never Got to Say Goodbye To." In it, Malcolm says, "I never stopped being that 12-year-old boy. Claire, you held me together, and now I need you to tell them. Tell them I'm sorry I stayed silent." His last words: "Tell Tempest, I forgive her. Claire, I'm ready." He didn't even say her real name. He called her Claire, the mother he trusted most, both on TV and in real life. That recording is being kept private. Phylicia says it's the only part of Malcolm the world doesn't deserve. He gave enough already. She told a close friend, "Let him have peace now." But peace never came. Once fans heard the leaked voicemail, the internet exploded. Hashtags like #JusticeFormal, #ForgiveMeIST, and #FinalWords trended. Clips from The Cosby Show flooded TikTok and Instagram tributes. Fan edits, millions crying, out for answers. Some defend Tempest, saying grief looks different for everyone. Others demand the truth. Why did she vanish? Why skip the memorial? Why confess only after he died? Most painfully, why did no one notice the depth of Malcolm's pain until it was too late? This wasn't just a Hollywood heartbreak, it was a tragedy no awards, reruns, or nostalgia can fix. Malcolm Jamal Warner wasn't just a character. He was a boy growing into a man before our eyes. When he broke, no one caught him, except Phylicia Rashad, the woman who held him in his final moments. Now, she's the last one holding the truth. As dawn broke over Los Angeles after Malcolm's death, a different darkness settled not in the sky, but over the hearts of those who called him family. The truth is no longer rumor. It has a voice, a name, a timestamp, and it's breaking the internet. Tempest Bledsoe, the woman who once held Malcolm's heart, now stands at the center of a storm she cannot undo. Her trembling voice in the leaked audio, whispering, "If you forgive me, maybe I'll never forgive myself," has already racked up millions of plays. People aren't just listening, they're feeling, sobbing, angry, questioning how love could turn to tragedy. Behind the scenes, Phylicia Rashad, who played Claire Huxtable, fell silent after the news broke. But hours later, she did the unthinkable. She shared a handwritten letter Malcolm gave her 5 days before his death. A letter he said was for the world, but only after he could no longer carry the weight. It was brief, but every word cut like glass. "I loved her more than I loved myself. Maybe that was the mistake. I thought if I gave her everything, she'd remember me when the noise got too loud. But in the end, she chose the noise, and I drowned in it." The world stopped. Social media was stunned. Was it suicide? Heartbreak? Betrayal? Those close to Malcolm say he wasn't himself in those last days. No laughter, no appetite, no guitar. Just staring at the walls, as if waiting for a ghost that never came. His sister, who stayed with him in Costa Rica, told TMZ Malcolm would stand outside at night, whispering her name, begging the dark to bring her back. But she never came. Tempest stayed silent until she couldn't anymore. Late that evening, a second voice note surfaced. A private voicemail Malcolm left her 2 nights before his death. His voice barely above a whisper, with ocean waves in the background, pain in every word. "If I die tomorrow, just say the truth. Stop shielding your image. Don't run away from the pain you caused. I'm not asking for love, just stop pretending it never existed." The internet exploded. Every major news outlet picked up the story. Fans from every generation mourned a man they grew up with, suddenly realizing they never truly understood his suffering. Celebrities flooded Twitter with crying face emojis, while others demanded answers. Then Phylicia Rashad went live. "No script, no filter, just raw truth." She said, "Malcolm told me something months ago I kept to myself until now." He said, "Even those who love you like a mother can't always tell who's crying for their soul and who's crying for the spotlight." Malcolm was exhausted physically, spiritually, emotionally. The one person who could have saved him walked away when he was on his knees. That one sentence sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Former co-stars reached out. Fans rewatched old Cosby Show clips, reading too deeply into every glance between Theo and Vanessa, wondering if the fiction had always been fueled by a real love story that ended in tragic reality. But the most haunting revelation came from an unexpected witness, a hospice nurse near Malcolm's beach villa the night he died. She said a private ambulance arrived while Malcolm was still barely conscious, gasping for breath. His final words, "Tell Tempest, I forgive her. Claire, I'm ready." At first, she didn't know who Claire was. Then the news made it clear it wasn't just a role for Malcolm. That wasn't acting. That was family. The only mother he truly trusted. Facing the rising storm, Tempest finally broke her silence in a brief Instagram post. No photo, just a black screen. Her words, "He told me I was the only one who could have saved him. I didn't even try." That silence said more than 1,000 interviews ever could. Within hours, fans began creating tribute videos. TikTokers lip-synced Malcolm's final words. Murals appeared in New York, Atlanta, and LA, painted beneath the phrase, "I loved her more than I loved myself." People were shattered not because a celebrity died, but because someone they grew up with, someone who felt like family, spent his final days in quiet agony and no one heard his silent screams. And the most tragic part, even now, no one knows why it ended this way. Fame, ego, a love too fragile for the spotlight. One thing is clear, the world lost more than an actor. It lost a man who gave his heart and never got it back. Somewhere along the crashing shores of Costa Rica, Malcolm's voice still echoes not in sound, but in sorrow. The fallout after Malcolm Jamal Warner's death was devastating beyond words. While the world grieved, insiders began leaking private messages and notes, painting a chilling picture. Malcolm didn't die in peace. He died surrounded by unresolved pain, silence from loved ones, and secrets he took to his grave. Now, that silence is finally breaking. Starting with his final voicemail to Tempest Bledsoe, it wasn't angry or bitter, it was resigned. If this is what love becomes, I wish I never tasted it. But I don't blame you, Temp. I just wish you had said something. What did he mean? Malcolm discovered something weeks before his Costa Rica trip, something that broke him. According to a family friend, Malcolm confronted Tempest after overhearing a conversation at a private Emmy party. Someone claimed she had deliberately pulled away when his career faltered, only reconnecting once he regained momentum with new projects. He said, "She loved the image of him, not the man," the source revealed. But that wasn't the worst part. Days before his death, Malcolm allegedly received a handwritten letter marked, "Sorry." Inside was a gut-wrenching line, "You weren't supposed to know. I was protecting myself. I never meant to kill your hope." Malcolm never revealed who wrote it. Sources say the handwriting matched Tempest's. Was it a breakup letter? A delayed apology? A deathbed confession? We may never know. But the effect was clear. Malcolm's spirit was broken, and Phylicia Rashad knew something was wrong. Insiders say Phylicia tried reaching him for days before his trip, but he stopped answering. Her last text, leaked by a family insider, read, "Please, don't go without talking to me. I feel it. Malcolm. Something's wrong." No reply, no call, just silence. She later told a friend, "I thought he needed space. I didn't know he needed saving." But the story darkens further. Investigators are revisiting the timeline. Initial reports said Malcolm drowned, trying to save his daughter, but a whistleblower from the Costa Rican resort says otherwise. There was no daughter in the water, no screams, no witness to him jumping after anyone. He walked alone onto the beach, sat for nearly an hour, then entered the water slowly. It didn't look like a rescue. It looked like surrender. That word sent shockwaves through investigators now. Some ask, was it really an accident? Or was it the final desperate cry of a man screaming inside, unheard? Back in the States, the emotional toll was overwhelming. Tempest reportedly collapsed at a private memorial after hearing Malcolm's final recording. "He still loved me," she wept. "Even after everything, he forgave me." But forgiveness doesn't erase pain. In a shocking twist, Phylicia Rashad refused to sit beside Tempest during the service. A source close to the family said she couldn't even look at her dot. There was too much blame, too much resentment. Now the Cosby Show fell. America's symbol of unity is fractured beyond repair. Malcolm's death didn't just break hearts, it exposed years of buried pain, fake smiles, forced reunions, friendships more about fame than truth. Behind the scenes, former cast members are reportedly at war, blaming each other for not stepping in sooner. An anonymously leaked group chat shows cast members pointing fingers, asking who really knew what Malcolm endured. One message read, "We all let him fade away. By the time he came back, it was too late." What about Malcolm's daughter? She's reportedly with her mother, away from the spotlight, shielded from the media circus, yet relatives say she's asking the question no one wants to face. Why did Daddy go into the water alone? Why? Because now, the official story has too many holes. Fans demand answers. A movement called #JusticeFormal has erupted online, with millions calling for transparency and reinvestigation. But some wounds can't be healed by truth alone. Some tragedies don't need villains, they need admission of failure. And in the end, that may be the most heartbreaking truth of all. Behind the fame, success, and legacy, Malcolm Jamal Warner was simply a man who wanted to be heard, seen, and when the world finally looked up, he was gone. They said he drowned. They said it was an accident. They said the waves took him. But what broke our hearts most? They never told us the full story. Malcolm Jamal Warner left behind more than a legacy. He left questions, silence, and a buried truth someone desperately tried to hide. Now the silence is shattering. New testimonies emerge. Family breaking vows of secrecy. Private voicemails leaking. Those closest revealing raw truths no one expected. It isn't just about a man gone too soon. It's about betrayal. About those he trusted turning away when he needed them most. Did someone know he was in danger? Was he silenced before he could speak? Why was his sister crying in court? Why did his lawyer flee the country after the funeral? And what did Phylicia Rashad mean when she whispered, "This was never supposed to happen like this"? You followed the mystery, watched the pieces fall. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Malcolm's death really an accident? Or something darker, more deliberate? Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe because this story is far from over. More secrets are surfacing. More tapes are leaking. The final truth is coming faster than anyone imagined. Stay tuned. What happens next may shake Hollywood to its core. This isn't just a story anymore. This is a reckoning.